Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the ages, exploring the triumphs and tribulations of human civilization. Today, we find ourselves in the midst of a most fascinating era, one that would come to be known as the Dutch Golden Age. This was a time when the Netherlands, a small but fiercely independent nation, rose to become a dominant world power, leaving an indelible mark on the realms of art, science, commerce, and politics. As we delve into this captivating period, let us first set our gaze upon the backdrop against which the Dutch Golden Age unfolded. In the late 15th century, the Netherlands was a collection of disparate provinces, united under the Burgundian dynasty. The region was a tapestry woven from diverse threads, with Flemish, Walloon, and Dutch cultures intermingling in a complex dance of language, custom, and tradition. The ports of Antwerp and Bruges bustled with mercantile activity, as merchants from across Europe flocked to these commercial hubs to exchange goods and ideas. As the 16th century dawned, the Netherlands found itself at the forefront of a maelstrom of religious upheaval. The Protestant Reformation, sparked by the likes of Martin Luther and John Calvin, sent shockwaves throughout the continent, challenging the authority of the Catholic Church and fostering an atmosphere of intellectual and spiritual ferment. The Dutch provinces, with their long tradition of toleration and mercantile pragmatism, became a haven for dissenters and freethinkers, drawing scholars, artists, and entrepreneurs from far and wide. One figure who would play a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of the Netherlands was William of Orange, a charismatic leader who embodied the spirit of resistance against the Spanish Habsburgs, who had come to dominate the region. Born into a noble family, William was educated in the humanist tradition, imbibing the classical ideals of Cicero and Aristotle, which would inform his vision for a unified and independent Netherlands. As he navigated the treacherous waters of court politics, William forged alliances with Protestant princes and nobles, laying the groundwork for a rebellion that would eventually engulf the entire region. Meanwhile, in the urban centers of the Netherlands, a remarkable cultural flowering was underway. The city of Antwerp, in particular, had become a hotbed of artistic innovation, as painters like Peter Bruegel the Elder and Hieronymus Bosch pushed the boundaries of representation and symbolism. The works of these masters, with their vivid depictions of everyday life and their use of allegory and metaphor, not only reflected the spiritual anxieties of the age, but also helped to forge a distinctively Dutch identity. As the 17th century unfolded, the Netherlands continued to assert its independence, with William of Orange's rebellion against the Spanish Habsburgs gaining momentum. In 1568, the Dutch revolt began in earnest, with a series of skirmishes and battles that would eventually lead to the formation of the United Provinces of the Netherlands. The turning point came in 1572, when a group of Dutch sea beggars, a motley crew of privateers and pirates, captured the city of Brill, marking the first major victory for the rebels. The following year, William of Orange, now recognized as the leader of the rebellion, issued the Edict of Tolerance, which granted freedom of worship to all citizens, regardless of their religious affiliation. This bold move helped to galvanize support among the Protestant population and paved the way for the establishment of a more inclusive and tolerant society. As the Dutch historian Pieter Gale would later write, the Netherlands was born of the marriage between the spirit of freedom and the spirit of tolerance. Meanwhile, in the economic sphere, the Dutch were making significant strides, with the establishment of the Amsterdam Exchange Bank in 1609 and the Dutch East India Company in 1602. The latter, with its monopoly on the spice trade, would go on to become one of the most powerful and influential commercial enterprises of the era, generating vast wealth for its shareholders and helping to fuel the growth of a prosperous middle class. One notable example of the company's exploits was the voyage of the Dutch explorer, Hendrik Brouwer, who in 1611 discovered a new route to the East Indies, which significantly reduced travel time and increased trade efficiency. This breakthrough had far-reaching consequences, as it enabled the Dutch to establish a strong foothold in the Asian market and challenge the dominance of the Portuguese. As the Dutch economy continued to flourish, so too did its cultural landscape. The city of Amsterdam, with its picturesque canals and bustling ports, became a magnet for artists, writers, and intellectuals from across Europe. The likes of Rembrandt van Rijn, Johannes Vermeer, and Frans Hals created some of their most iconic works during this period, capturing the essence of Dutch life and culture in vivid and intimate detail. In 1632, the University of Amsterdam was founded, providing a hub for intellectual inquiry and scholarly pursuit. The university attracted prominent thinkers such as René Descartes, who would go on to develop his groundbreaking philosophical ideas while residing in the Netherlands. As Descartes himself noted, "The Netherlands is a country where one can live comfortably, without being bothered by the authorities, and where one can think freely, without fear of persecution." The 1640s saw the rise of the Dutch Golden Age's most celebrated poet, Joost van den Vondel, who penned works such as Lucifer and Adam in Ballingschap, which explored themes of love, morality, and the human condition. His writing not only reflected the spiritual and intellectual currents of the time, but also helped to shape the Dutch language into a sophisticated literary instrument. As the century drew to a close, the Netherlands found itself at the forefront of scientific discovery, with figures such as Christiaan Huygens and Antonie van Leeuwenhoek making significant contributions to our understanding of the natural world. The former's development of the pendulum clock in 1656 revolutionized timekeeping, while the latter's pioneering work on microscopy revealed the hidden world of microorganisms. As the 17th century drew to a close, the Dutch Golden Age began to wane, its decline marked by a series of costly wars with European powers, including England and France. The Anglo-Dutch Wars, which took place from 1652 to 1674, had drained the Dutch treasury and weakened their naval superiority. Furthermore, the rise of other European colonial powers, such as Britain and France, began to erode the Dutch dominance of global trade. Despite these challenges, the Dutch Golden Age left an indelible mark on Western culture and society. As the historian Simon Schama has noted, the Dutch Republic was the first nation to make a virtue of moderation, to believe that the pursuit of wealth and power could be reconciled with the pursuit of liberty and tolerance. This unique blend of commercial acumen, intellectual curiosity, and cultural expression had created a truly remarkable civilization. One of the most significant legacies of the Dutch Golden Age was its contribution to the development of modern capitalism. The Amsterdam Exchange Bank, established in 1609, was one of the first central banks in the world and played a crucial role in facilitating international trade and finance. The Dutch East India Company, with its innovative use of joint stock financing and global supply chains, had pioneered a new model of corporate organization that would be emulated by other European powers. The cultural achievements of the Dutch Golden Age also continued to resonate long after the period itself had come to an end. The works of Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Hals remained iconic examples of Dutch art, while the writings of Vondel and Descartes continued to influence literary and philosophical thought. As the 18th-century French philosopher Voltaire observed, "The Dutch are a nation of philosophers, and their philosophers are the most tolerant and the most reasonable in all of Europe." Today, the Dutch Golden Age is remembered as a pivotal moment in Western history, a time when the values of tolerance, intellectual curiosity, and commercial enterprise came together to create a truly remarkable civilization. The legacy of the Dutch Golden Age can be seen in the modern-day Netherlands, where the values of tolerance, moderation, and intellectual curiosity continue to shape the country's culture and society. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.